Chapter 18, Thrice. Today is October 9th, which means it is George's 6th birthday. I forgot to tell him happy birthday when I got up for school this morning, so I was going to wish him a happy birthday when I got back to Robbinsog. However, school let out for him right as I was getting on the Brown Line train to the loop from Kimball, and that was when I got a phone call from George, and that almost never happens despite the fact he turned 6 today and he has a cell phone. Hello? I asked over the phone. I got a present today, said George through the phone. What is it? A note in my locker from the return. I then felt full of negative excitement. I don't want Mom and Dad to find out about this. Go to Robbinsog and pick up the other 2 notes to compare, and then board the next Green Line train to Harlem, where we will meet you at Conservatory Central Park Drive Station. And then we will go into Garfield Park, I ordered. I ordered George when Sam gets there. Will do, said George. I will call Mom, Dad, and Sam right away. I'll meet you at the station, and happy birthday. Thanks. Bye, George. I'll see you in a little bit. Bye, Marcus. I'll see you in a little bit, too. I then hung up. I called Mom and Dad. And it both went to their voicemail, and I told them I was going to be late, and I texted them, too. However, when I called Sam, he picked right up. Hello? Sam asked. Garfield Park ASAP. The return strikes George, I said. I'll meet you at the station. That's the plan. George will meet us there. He is stopping at Robbinsog first to pick up the first 2 notes. I then hung up. By now I was between the Rockwell and Western stations. I still had a good 20 minutes to the loop. And then I had to transfer trains and ride the Green Line out a little ways, so it'll be a while before we get there. I felt my heart beating so hard the next half hour, and then I got to Conservatory Central Park Station for Garfield Park on the Green Line. It was 2 more trains for Sam and 5 more for George. When George got there, the weather looked like it was not going to be our friend, and that it was going to pour down rain. Let's have this chit-chat in the conservatory, I said. I agree, said Sam. Can I go down the slide some before we go back? It is my birthday, George asked. George, I promise I'll work it in, but it's more important that we get this out of the way first, I said to George. We then began to head down the stairs from the station toward the conservatory. What time is it, George asked. 4, I said. The conservatory closes at 5 on Mondays. Are you sure I'm going to have some slide time? George asked. Yes, I will make sure we are done by 4:45, no matter what, I said to George. We then entered Garfield Park Conservatory and went to the room with the fountain in it connected to the show house. Do you have the 3 notes? I asked George. Yep. Here is the 3rd one, which I know you were looking for, and I will lay out the first 2. I read the 3rd note, and this is what it said. Dear George, here is the 3rd and final riddle. What is a synonym for what I have been giving you? Sincerely, the return. P.S. Happy birthday. I went at the end because of the fact whoever is the return knows it was George's birthday. It has to be someone we know if they know it was George's birthday, Sam said. Everyone in our family has tried to convince me they are not the return. But the truth of the matter is, who is it if it is not Hannah or a relative of ours, I said. So, someone knows what my birthday is, said George. And who knows what your birthday is, other than family members, I asked. My kindergarten classmates, said George. Who in that class knows I go to the Kimball Charter School, I asked. And who knows in that class I go to the Polk Charter School, I said to Sam asked. Nobody knows you go to either, said George. Can we solve the riddle now, Sam asked. The answer is trouble, I said. Now, let's go to the children's garden, so you can go down that slide as many times as you want between now and 5, and then we'll board the next Green Line train to Ashland 63rd or Cottage Grove and get off at Adams and Wabash. And during that time, I will be taking deep breaths and enjoying candy cigars to cool myself down because of the stress we are in. Yay! Georgia said. We then went to the children's garden. I am Sam, or so flabbergasted at the return, knowing it was George's birthday. It was unbelievable. Sam was sitting with me, watching George go up and down the slide, which he has almost never done for so long. Before I knew it, it was 4:55, and it was time for us to head back to the train station. Once we left the conservatory and the train began moving again, I finally got my sanity back. Whatever you do not tell Mom and Dad about the contents of that note, I said firmly to Sam and George once I got the jolt I needed from the train. I won't say anything, said Sam. Neither will I, said George, just so I can give you a sneak peek of my wrath. If you two do say something, I'm going to point my cane at you two to stop you from changing your minds. I'll take it down once the core fills up more, or we get to Adams and Wabash, I said. I then pointed my cane at them, and I think they thought it was funny, but I also knew they know not to tell anybody. Once we were approaching Morgan Station, I got a phone call. Hello? I asked through the phone. Where are you? My mother asked through the phone. I cannot tell you that, otherwise it will give away where we are, and that could give away our secret spot, I answered. Fine. Just ask your younger brother where he wants to go for his birthday dinner, said Mom. Where do you want to go for your birthday dinner? I asked George. Let's go to the Popeyes in the Loop, Georgia said. Popeyes in the Loop, I answered to my mother in the phone. Okay, said my mom. I will not say where we are, but let's say I can meet you there. We can meet you there, I said to my mother. Okay, how long will you be? My mom asked. I won't say exactly how long for security reasons, I answered. Okay, then let me know. Then we will meet you there, said my mom. Leave now, I said. Okay, my mom said, then I hung up. We're not getting off at Adams and Wabash. We're getting off at Washington and Wabash. Oh, okay, said George. I really don't care, said Sam. It was about 5 more minutes to the Loop and 3 more minutes to Washington and Wabash. After we left the train, it was a 5-minute walk. I knew exactly why George picked Popeyes for his birthday dinner, especially here at this Popeyes, which I have been here before. Ceiling fans. When we entered, our parents were inside waiting for us, and George took off like lightning to hug Mom. Happy 6th birthday, my mom said to George as he was hugging her and giving him a noogie. He then hugged my dad, and then we began to order. Get whatever you want, said my dad. All I wanted was a chicken po' boy, and that is what I got. After we were done eating, George wanted to watch the ceiling fans for a few minutes, and we did. Some were on and some were off. Some were running one way and some the other. Some were running faster and some were running slower. They were all the same model. All white, 3 blades with a rounded flat belly button, and the blades had curved edges. My mom then kissed George again. The past 6 years wouldn't have been the same for me without ceiling fans. I know, said George with a smile. It brought me great awareness to something I never thought about until you came along, said my mom. I know, said George. Me too, said Dad. Me 3, said Sam. It does bring me joy to when you watch them spin around, I said to George. I never really told George how much I admired his love for ceiling fans, and that made him smile, and I was telling him the truth. It really does tickle me how he obsesses over something really odd, but then again, don't I obsess over odd things? And I also love watching people with autism obsess over their passion. He then hugged me super tight. I love you, Dr. M, said George. I love you too. In fact, I love you more than I am Dr. Marcacius, because I feel you have grown closer to me that way, I said to George, rubbing his back while he was hugging me. You could have left the ending of that out, said my mom. It's his birthday, let it go. No one ever bothered to talk back. A few minutes later, we left Popeyes and walked to Robbinsog. After we got back, I did my homework and then I went to the pool because George wanted to go to the pool and I had to finish my homework. So now I wanted to join my family. When I got there, all four of my other family members were in the pool and tossing a ball around. What are you playing? I asked as I was entering the pool. The game where if you miss or if you miscatch the ball, you have to dunk yourself, George said. Cool. George then threw the ball at me and I missed, so I dunked myself under the water. So, how has your day been other than the part that involved us? Mom asked. Great, said George awkwardly to prevent things from being revealed. He had such a great time at the secret spot, I said awkwardly for the same reason. Let me ask you this. What are you going to do? What are you going to your secret spot in for? I know that none of you were mad at me, or Mom asked. It was his birthday. It was his birthday. We went there because he wanted to. That's why it's a secret, lied Sam with a smile on his face, but not in a way that gave away that he was lying. We can also go there because we want to, even if it is not about avoiding you, I said to my mom firmly. Okay, said my mom. My mom then had the ball, and this time she missed, and it hit my face. I dunked, but I think I got carpet burned. So, I think my mom did that on purpose, but I don't know.